So let's move on with our next talk, how to become a data-driven enterprise. Our next speaker from IBM will show you, will answer this question and will tell how IBM is helping its clients to become a digital enterprise. So let's welcome Nadine from IBM.
Thank you. Hello. So, my name is Nadine Brehm. I'm responsible in IBM Germany for our business for Cloudpack for Data. That is our data and AI platform. And I would like to talk now, as she introduced me, how to become a data-driven enterprise. And so the question is really, how can you become a data-driven enterprise? And to become a data-driven enterprise, the enterprises would also apply often AI. And if we look into this topic, we hear everywhere, on every corner, we hear AI. Yeah, so AI is really in the, maybe, I don't know, but I think it is really a hot topic in the complete industry. Yeah. But if we look into AI, we see also often that we are not there where we would like to be with AI. I think we have a good position, or everybody is having a good position, but it could be much more sophisticated in the future. But nevertheless, every enterprise needs also to adapt AI. And why? Why is it necessary that enterprises should adapt AI? On the one hand, or on the one topic, it is necessary because of opportunities. If you adapt AI, you have complete different opportunities with your enterprise as before. If we look into these incumbents like Uber, etc., they got a good opportunity with AI. And on the other hand, it is also optimization. We can optimize a lot with AI nowadays. You can optimize, for instance, your supply chain. You can save money if you optimize your supply chain. And on the other hand, the third topic is knowledge. Knowledge is also pretty important for enterprises if they are adapting AI. I have here a smart example, for instance. If you look into insurance companies, for instance, and if they have maybe an underwriter who worked there for 20 to 30 years, if the underwriter is getting into pension, a lot of know-how will be lost. And maybe they are not able to do the things exactly how this underwriter had done it, because the knowledge is gone. He's in pension and the knowledge is completely gone. And with AI, you can, or with data and AI, you also can conserve the knowledge and you can conserve the processes you have. So it is really critical for companies to adapt AI to be successful and also to be proven for the future that they use the benefits of the digitization. But if we look where we are with the adoption of AI, we see that only 4% of the executives says that their businesses have adapted AI successfully. And that is pretty less. And so we have to ask ourselves, why is that the case? Because, as I stated, nearly everybody says, I would like to do something with AI. We are also if we look on the cycle, we are in the early stage of the cycle of the adoption, but only 4% are successful. And they are often only not successful because of the hurdles they have. And we call this also, they are not successful because of the burdens of the legacy. Because not every enterprise is born in the cloud company who can build everything from scratch, who can do everything from greenfield. We have a lot of traditional enterprises with traditional processes. And if we look here into the different pillars, so the companies, they have, for instance, if we look into the data topic, they have data in silos. Yes, data resides in a lot of different silos. We have different owners for the data, for instance. And sometimes it's also difficult because these owners, they don't allow anybody else to access these data. Yeah, the data are there. The companies can do pretty nice things with the data, but it is not allowed by some cause. Another thing is that it is often difficult also to access the data. Another big hurdle is often also the culture in the enterprises, yeah? Because as I mentioned, we have often barriers, we have walls, we have competing departments, and so the culture is also often a problem. And if we look at the culture, it is also often a lack of skills, because as Vidya also stated out, there's a lack of skills in AI. Everybody would like to get a data scientist, but there are not enough data scientists out that everybody can hire a data scientist. So we need different things. Yeah, we need maybe intelligent tools that we don't need a data scientist. And what is also often a big hurdle is that the companies have these legacy systems. They have a lot of different legacy stuff, and it's really difficult to integrate all of this stuff and to access this stuff and to get new apps or new programs out of this stuff. And therefore we say in IBM that you need an information architecture. So we say you have to build first an information architecture that you can then also adapt AI. So, and on the journey to AI, it is not only this information architecture, one of the biggest hurdles is the culture. I mentioned that as well. And so if you would like to go to your route to a data-driven enterprise, and if you would like to adapt AI, you have to look at the culture and you have to build a data-driven culture. Yeah? So you need an open culture. It is also pretty good if you establish a center of excellence for data and AI, for instance, and that you take also the people from the field to these data and AI processes, that the people from the field don't say, oh my God, what they are doing here was my data, that they understand what you do with the data, and also that they help to create the new processes, because you need also the business owners to establish new processes where you leverage data and AI. And one of the biggest topics is also that you have to encourage change, yeah? Because if everything stays old or if everything stays as it was, change can never happen. Yeah? You have to create also a culture that failures are accepted. Yeah? Otherwise, change cannot happen. And we see here that the companies or the enterprises, they establish centers of excellence, but they establish also some data initiatives, because you need initiatives in the enterprise that everybody is getting aware that these data or maybe also these AI topics are nothing what is maybe dangerous for them or for their jobs or whatever, so that everybody is open to these new things, yeah, and that you get also input from the field, that you get input from the different departments to build an initiative, and that you find out what topics could be the best for your personal initiative. And as I mentioned, we see that a data architecture is really needed, because you can't infuse AI if you have bad data. for instance. Yeah? If the quality of your data is bad, you won't get a good result. Yeah? The result is also bad. And therefore, you need a good data architecture. And we say here it should be really also an elastic architecture. It should be based on open source. So Kubernetes is helping here, for instance. I will talk about the data architecture a little bit more on my next slide. And on the other hand, it is also the technology. And therefore, it is also important to think not in bits and pieces, because here a platform really helps. Because if you have 20 or 30 different toolings and you have to integrate all these different toolings, and you have to integrate a lot of different data sources, that is also pretty complicated, and that will give you not this flexibility and also not the speed you need often. Yeah? So you should think more in a platform topic and not in single products, and also not in this approach. We take the best product for each category or something like that. And it is also essential that you have an end-to-end management, really. Yeah, that you don't have these. I had on another presentation a nice slide which consisted of 3 different brands, yeah, that you don't have really this mix, because you have a lot of work with this mix and you cannot concentrate on your real work. Yeah? And so therefore, we established a new platform. We developed a complete new data and AI platform that combines all these things. And the name, therefore, is Cloudpack for Data. And in this platform, we have a layer where we do the collection and the connection of data. So that is also, if you look in this architectural thing, you need first a data layer, where you do the data collection and the connection. Here you can access data, you can access different data sources, but you can access also your legacy data sources. So it is not necessary to put, for instance, everything into one Hadoop cluster or something like this. You can use the Hadoop cluster, but you can use also existing databases, for instance, like SAP, Oracle, Teradata, but also open source like MongoDB, Postgres, etc. And the second step, if you have this collection layer, there's also a connection layer needed, because you would like to do the analytics, for instance, on top. And if you won't dump everything into one database that you can do the analytics, you need also a data connection layer. And so there's a data virtualization layer also with this in this platform, that you can do then the analytics and accessing therefore different data sources. On the other hand, there's also a governance and organizing tool there, so that everything is, for instance, that you can implement GDPR, that your GDPR processes are correct, and also that you can do, for instance, data lineage and all these things. And if we have solved this collection, connection, and organizing layer, we look into the analyzing layer. And in the analyzing layer, you do, for instance, normal business analytics things, or you can implement data science. So you can develop algorithms, and here you have also the complete open source tooling, TensorFlow, and all these nice shiny tools. So everything is here included, that you can develop algorithms. And the charming thing on this side is that you can develop the algorithms, for instance, in the cloud, that you can use a lot of compute power from the cloud. The platform is a multi-cloud platform. So for instance, you can go on AWS. There's also a free trial at AWS where you can set up a cluster in a few minutes. You can build your algorithm in the cloud and you can then implement these algorithms in your data center, for instance, on-prem, because you have maybe sensitive data or something like that. And if you have built these models, you can implement these models and also into production. And that is a thing where we see that our clients stuck here most, because there are a lot of people out to build nice, shiny algorithms, and it is pretty difficult to bring these things then also in production. And if we look then in production, because the production systems are also often these legacy systems, if we go back to this insurance example, for instance, in a banking example, if a regulator would like to understand from the bank why credit has been given or not, the bank has to document it. And here it is pretty, or could be advantage, could bring you advantage if you have everything written down why the credit has been given out or not. And maybe, we talked also about bias, maybe this algorithm for the credit was biased, and maybe black men haven't got this loan because of a biased algorithm, yeah? And therefore, we have in this infusion part, we have also tools where they check that the algorithms are not biased, for instance, yeah? Pardon? It is, it is part of our Watson tooling set, yeah? And then you put the algorithm into the Watson tooling, and then it checks if it is biased or not.
Okay, so they make a couple of tests, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I was just interested. I mean, on one side there could be the algorithms which are biased, and on the other side there could be data which could be biased. So so you have to check both, right? And for credit, like you're right. I mean, if the credits were given only to, let's say, more white people, then it would be difficult. It would be difficult to see it because your data will show.
Exactly. So it looks in both. Yeah, it looks also into the data.
That's pretty cool.
That
is something. I mean, one part is this how much black box this algorithms are. That's explainable. You know, the part like you have to be able to explain why the algorithm decided for this person or not that person, even for a job posting or whatever.
Exactly.
So the explainability is very important in AI, and so the trust factor.
Yeah.
If you use maybe neural networks, I don't know. I mean, maybe people here sitting, I don't know. Probably not so easy, I guess, to explain it. But there are a lot of startups working on it right now, so I don't know where we stand.
Yeah, but it's good that you test. I mean, of course, maybe you cannot explain, but you put something in and you see what the outcome. So if you have
exactly. So so it is really that you can trust your AI, that you can bring trust and transparency to the AI. And this transparency is also important for these credit decisions, that you see also which algorithm has been taken when, So everything is also on a protocol that you can show then also the regulators why the decision has been taken exactly. Okay. And as I explained, so we have here a platform that is a multi-cloud platform. It runs on multiple clouds. You can use it also in your own data center, and it is all based on OpenShift, on Kubernetes, and we have now acquired Red Hat. I don't know if you know that, and therefore we have also built in the OpenShift platform from Red Hat that is now part of this platform as well. And we have a lot of open source really in the platform. The whole platform has been built with open source. IBM is also contributing a lot of into the open source community. So we contribute a lot on these Spark machine learning topics. For instance, a few years ago we had made some Spark things public to the community. And so we really embrace open source into this platform. So it is not something like a vendor login or something like this, that it is really infused by open source. Yeah, and I have also a short example. Maybe we can do this in the last 2 or 3 minutes. So one of our clients is Sprint, that is a US-based telco operator, and Sprint had the challenge that their, how is it called? The Mobilfunkmasten. Nee, Mobilfunkmasten.
Ah, okay,
the towers, yes, the cell towers, that it is pretty expensive if something is broken in the cell towers, and so they looked for a predictive maintenance solution for the cell towers. And we helped Sprint here in this scenario because they thought they would like to do here some predictive maintenance, and we have sit down together with Sprint. We brought in our data and AI elite team, that is a worldwide excellence team that has sit down with Sprint, and they thought about how they can help here or what they can build. And then they have built a solution based on this platform, and the solution looks now based on the volume of the call center. They look in which call center of the US I have pretty high traffic. Then they check out also about what are the clients talking in this call center, because you can get this in real time with speech to text topics, that the system understands then, okay, they are talking about outages, maybe they are talking about outages in Arizona in a special area, and then they look also into the records of the cell towers, into the data of the cell towers, what they send here, if they have sensors on these topics, and then they have a pretty good view which cell tower could be affected next, and then they can send out Mechanica that they can solve the problem before something is getting broken and before they have a huge outage. So that was one case of the platform I would like to show you. And maybe the last thing I wanted to show you also, that we have been ranked by Forrester as the #1 enterprise insight platform. So these kind of platforms are called enterprise insight platform, and we have been ranked as #1 because we have brought in all our capabilities from our data business, from our governance business, from our AI business into this platform, and have really built one platform that you can install with one click in a few hours, that it is up and running and that you can concentrate on your business. And we are also happy to help and to engage with you. So we are happy to do maybe a garage with you or a workshop that we can identify your specific problems and that we can then go into a joint engagement. That's all. Thank you.
Many thanks to all of you for sharing this day with us. This year's Munich AI Summit was devoted to the role of women in AI. Looking forward to Munich AI Summit 2020. See you next year.